So since the recent news headline of Michael Burry going short on Tesla with over 8,000 put option contracts, I've personally done a little bit more digging into Michael Burry, and wow, there's a lot to share with you guys in this video. Now, of course, this man is famous because he predicted the 2008 financial crisis. He saw the housing bubble, he saw things kind of get frothy and just to the point where it's unsustainable. He shorted that and he made a ton of money out of that. And he was ultimately right in his prediction. And over the years, he's made other calculated bets, he's been vocal on a few other things, and he's been right more often than not. And most recently, he shared with us quite a few things that he found concerning in the stock market, which is what we're going to discuss today. And you'll see how, accurate he was with his predictions, and I'll leave you guys with the kind of uneasy feeling that he had for the broader market towards the end of this video. So it's going to be an interesting video. If you're a fan of his or not, I appreciate a like down below regardless, but let's get into it. Also, I just want to make it clear that I don't necessarily agree with him with a lot of the things that he says, and I definitely don't agree with him with Tesla, for example. But hey, the guy has spoken his mind, and I truly appreciate that. I'm sure many other people truly do, because it's always great to see, different perspectives, different opinions, and from someone who's actually, gone through the test of time and been right time and time again. You value his opinion. So he kind of warned us of quite a few bubbles a few months ago, and we'll go through each one of these right now. So the first was in Bitcoin. At the beginning of March, when Bitcoin crossed the $50,000 mark, Burry warned that it was a speculative bubble and said that a crash was coming. And yes, I know, I get it. There are some people that always go on, oh, a crash is coming, and we just keep going through a bull market, keep going higher and higher and higher, and then finally one day we crash and they're like, oh, look, I told you a crash is coming. I get that. But Burry here actually predicted this crash in Bitcoin just a couple of months ago, and guess what we're going through today? From its peak just last month, Bitcoin is down around 30%. And if you ask me, that is a pretty sizable crash in such a short period of time. So he was correct here in calling this. Now you may say, hey, Bitcoin's crashing because of the Coinbase IPO. Bitcoin's crashing because of the whole drama with Elon Musk and Twitter. There's many reasons why things happen in the markets, and we can't ever pinpoint one specific reason, but the fact of the matter is, it did crash, it is down 30%, and he did call it just a couple of months ago. But here's the thing, one prediction alone seen as lucky, right? You can go there and say, oh, Bitcoin's gonna crash, and then it crashes, and you're like, oh, look, I told you Bitcoin's gonna crash. And then you just don't say anything after that because, that's your prediction, you're right, and you're going to forever be right. No, he made a few predictions here, so let's keep going on with this. SPACs was the next thing, and in a tweet, he mentioned that they were hotter than ever, and we all know this from the performance that SPACs returned in late 2020 and early 2021. And then he said that companies going public via a SPAC are not well vetted, and he was absolutely right on this. And I've fallen victim to this too, guys. I own Clover Health still today. That was a sketchy SPAC. There was some stuff they didn't disclose with the DOJ investigation. Again, not well vetted. And of course you had things like Nikola, again, a very sketchy company. There's a lot of stuff going on in the SPAC world, which is why I've chosen now to kind of stay away, let it do its thing, and clearly we can see that bubble has popped. Oh, and then when it comes to, SPACs and these speculative investments, he took a jab at Cathie Wood as well. He said at the time of his tweet that her picks were hot, she was doing well, and shorts were hiding, but sooner or later, Wall Street will be ruthless, and well, if you own any of ARK's funds, then that time is probably now. Looking here at ARK K, for example, their largest ETF, it's down almost 35% in a short period of time, so once again, he was correct here. And then guys, the icing on the cake, EV stocks and SaaS stocks. Honestly, all this other stuff, you could probably see it coming. You could see that, the ARK funds were just getting too hyped. SPACs were getting too hyped. Bitcoin was just running to the moon, so it needed some sort of pullback. And even EV stocks to a certain point, like these Chinese ones, I didn't really feel that they deserved the valuation they got. But when he called the SaaS stocks in a bubble, that really gained my respect because yes, even I fell for some of these SaaS stocks, and I waited for lower prices, but I'm down quite a bit even though I waited for lower prices to start buying into those. So yes, I'm also a victim of this. He tweeted that EV stocks and SaaS stocks were like housing in 2007 prior to the real estate crash, and fiber in 1999 prior to the dot-com bubble. These stocks are driven by hype, speculation, and greed essentially, and when they fall, that fall he predicted would be dramatic. And holy crap, he was spot on. Look at these EV stocks. Year to date, just a few months in the year, NIO is down 36%, Tesla is down 20%, Xpeng is down 40%, Li Auto is down 42%. These numbers, these losses are nothing short of dramatic. And all of this happened in a very short period of time, which is just mind-blowing. And what about SaaS, software as a service? Well, WCLD is a cloud ETF holding many of these SaaS companies, and it's down around 25%. And this has happened in just a short couple of months. This holds true once again to Burry's prediction of a dramatic fall. Oh, and he didn't leave out Doge as well. He talked about that one too. He did mention this crypto and said we are in a blow-off top in all things, which is in reference to the hype on Doge, and this is well before, the recent Doge to the moon, Doge to $1, SNL Musk appearance of Doge. He saw the hype building up in that, and he warned us about it. And so far, it remains to be seen if he's correct on this one as well. I have a feeling that this is probably another bubble that's forming. Everyone, their grandmas, their grandpas, their dogs, their cats, their cows, everyone wants to get into Doge, and that's typically a sign that we reached the top, we're in a bubble, and things are gonna pop soon, and a lot of people are gonna lose a lot of money. It's unfortunate to see, but it's just the market cycle. It's how things work over and over and over again. Now guys, if you've been a follower of my channel, you know that for many months I have been against all of these type of investments, right? I've been against investing in NIO when it was like $50, $60, even $40. Like, this is an expensive stock. Why would you pay such a premium for this? It's in a bubble. And then of course I talked about other, bubbly type stocks like Palantir when it was like $40+. Everyone's like, oh, this one's going to the moon. I was like, maybe one day, but it's expensive today. And I was just super skeptical on all of these SPACs coming out, everyone buying in, saying it's easy money, you just throw your money in here, you'll double it in a day or two. Guys, you know that I've made videos on this channel which were unpopular at the time because I went against the grain. I tried to be a voice of reason, and for those of you that watched the video and hit the like button on that video, I truly appreciate you. I don't want to be one of those YouTubers that comes out here and just pumps these random stocks that says, oh, it's going to the moon. Maybe I'll come out here and pump something like Facebook. Hey, Facebook's going to the moon. But hey, what is my influence going to do to a $1 trillion company? Not much. I have high conviction, and I try to stick to good businesses, which I truly do believe justify going to the moon. And what we all need to be careful of, what we need to take here from what Burry was saying, is that we should recognize these sort of patterns that happen time and time again, and just be cautious when we see them. When you see everyone flooding into a certain asset, a certain type of stock, a certain, industry of stocks, just be cautious. There's still some good companies in there, but majority of them, the ones that have poor fundamentals, is just hype driven, those are the ones you typically wanted to stay a little bit away from because there's a higher probability that you will end up losing your money there. And normally at this point I would tell you go follow Michael Burry on Twitter, but unfortunately you can't do that anymore. After a visit from the federal regulators, he stopped tweeting, and now all of his words of wisdom and caution won't be heard by anyone anymore. It's honestly truly unfortunate that this is what it came to. He had to take down his account, he doesn't tweet anymore. It was just such a refreshing take to see someone that's not pumping the markets, that's rational, that kind of goes against the grain and just speaks his mind. I really do respect that, and I hope one day in the future he comes back, starts tweeting again, and we can hear his words of wisdom. Maybe once the market crashes, he'll come back, but for now, it doesn't look all that great. But anyways, before he did go dark, he did say something about the market. He said, quote, that the market was dancing on a knife's edge and he feared of being ignored once again. And well, now that he's kind of silenced in a way, all we can assume is that this quote that he tweeted still holds true today because, you know, the NASDAQ, the Qs are, you know, pretty close to its high. It's a little bit off. It has corrected a bit. The S&P, the Dow, is pretty much at all-time highs. The markets are still chugging along, and if he felt this way a few months ago, I'm sure he still feels this way today. But now it's important to note that, like I said at the beginning, I don't necessarily agree with him with everything. There are certain things like, you know, the SPAC bubble and EV bubble, that kind of stuff. Sure, I agree with that. But when it comes to the overall market being in a bubble, I don't think so. I think a correction is good. I think the NASDAQ is in one of those corrections right now, which is good. And I think a lot of these high flyer, no fundamental companies have just been destroyed, which is what we needed to see for us to move on. So I don't think that we're necessarily in a huge bubble today. Sure, some stocks are still expensive, but over time the market will kind of sort itself out. It's still trying to figure out how this whole reopening of the economy is going to play, how some of these companies will keep benefiting from this, and it's trying to price things out, right? So we just gotta wait, give the market time, and sure, we may have our bumps in the road in the next year or so, but that's just how the game works. Anyways, that's just my 2 cents on it, guys. I hope this video provided you some insight on what Burry, you know, how he thinks, what he sees, and hopefully if you watch my channel, you recognize that I have similar thinking to him with a lot of things, and if you enjoy that, hit the subscribe button down below. I will keep sharing my perspective here on YouTube for as long as they let me. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to invest positively, and I'll see you in the next one.